another exciting episode of World Bigfoot Radio. Today we have a return guest that you guys can be happy to hear from. He hasn't been on for a while. He's on the show a few times before, and he is the guy that was going and hanging around with scooters. So welcome back to the show, Taylor.
What's up, dude? How y'all doing?
Great to have you back, brother.
Yeah, it's nice being back. Behooves, huh? We're using big words now. I had an English teacher use that on me. It would behoove you to study a little bit.
I actually bought a $20 book called $20 Words, and tried a few of them in there so that my perspicacity doesn't suffer.
Well, yeah, wasted $20 with me. What's going on?
Well, we've been doing a lot of work on expanding everything here, trying to get a better sound system set up and whatnot. You've been helping with that, and I'd like to give you an official on-air thank you for being the guy that supplied me with a soundboard that I'm going to be able to plug into this whole system and make everything else sound super sweet here.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Appreciate it, man. And, it's been quite a while since you've been on the show, and you've had a bunch of things happen to you. Can we start out with your, the last time you went and met with Scooter, things didn't turn out that warm and fuzzy, and maybe that would be a good place to start.
Yeah, that's easy for you to say. Well, I never got close to him like Kat is with hers or Kev's with Glad and stuff like that. I mean, we never, them guys were just darn near sitting in their laps, and he would stay off a little bit and watch, and I'd catch peeks of him here and there, and he would come up when I'd yell for him. And one day I went out there. Before I went out there, let me back up just a second. I went up to Sally's, and me and her was having coffee, and she said, honey, I don't think you should go out there today. I got a bad feeling. And I was like, just kind of brushing it off. I should have listened to her, but I just kind of brushing it off, and I didn't take no food or nothing like that. I go out there, and he comes up. I mean, when you see these pictures of them, and they do these illustrations, and it's like I think it was Matt Squatch that had one on it, like a wood booger. They look more human. They're like that, but they look more human than that, and they're just horrible to look at. You never get used to it ever. I don't think anybody could.
Well, the one I got a clear look at sure wasn't a cutie pie. I'll vouch for that.
The dimensions are all wrong and everything on them, and they're just terrifying because of the size of them. Period. I thought I was going to be the guy and that breaks through and starts, developing a relationship with them and stuff like that. And since that's happened, I read that book of Enoch and stuff like that, and which is a great book. And it's a shame about her, but it's a great book. And I was wanting to develop a relationship like that, but it wasn't going to happen. I mean, there's no way. These things are too fickle, I guess is the word I can use. For lack of cussing, but I was there, and he's tromping around pacing back behind the woods a little bit. He seemed like he was agitated. I didn't stay long. I turned around to go walking off, and I bet he was 20 yards away from me, in the wood line, and all of a sudden something blasts me and just knocks me, and here he comes. He's on top of me, and what saved me is Sally come. I don't know, when I start talking about that, you get all, my stomach gets upset and everything.
It's okay, man. Take your time.
Yeah. Sally, I think, saved my life because that thing was right on top of me. And it knocked me out, thank God.
He blasted you. What did he do?
He hit me in the side. I really don't. He hit me, and it felt like in the side, but it's hard to tell. And it was like a truck hitting me, and I got knocked, and then he's on top of me. Almost on top of me. I don't know, really. When he hit me, it sent me for a loop. It messed my ribs up. My shoulder was hurting for a long time. And he didn't break nothing, but, man, I swear to God, bruised ribs are just as bad as cracked ribs, I'm telling you. Anyway, Sally comes. There's like a little, it's like if you're looking at a catcher's mitt and you place it down, there's and where your thumb would be is toward her house, and there's a row of trees and bushes right there, and I'm down in the palm of it, let's say. So you look down in your palm, I'm down this area. She comes around this clump of stuff, and she's got a gun, and she starts shooting at him, and that's what stopped he retreated, and she got me up and took me to the hospital and stuff like that, and was going to call an ambulance and all that crap. And I come around, I'm like, no, don't do that. And I was cut up and tore up and freaked out, dude.
Thank God he didn't break anything. And, even though he may have slammed you, he could have easily broken something. Obviously,
he could have killed me.
Back. Yeah, I mean, he could have killed you just with the first swat. He realistically, easily could have killed you with the first swat. So you got to wonder why he swatted you. And, obviously he didn't mean to kill you because he didn't even break any bones.
Me and you've talked about that, and I told you, I said, I don't know what I done wrong. I approached the same way, left my cell phone and stuff back, and, I don't take nothing up there with me. And I have no idea of this day, and I don't want to go back over there. And I got a friend, I talk to in Georgia all the time, Eddie, and he's like, have you went back over there? Is she having any trouble? And I said, man, I go see her because me and her formed a real good relationship and stuff like that. But I don't want nothing to do with that guy out there in her back 40, and his little group and whatever. It's just, it messed me up for a long friggin' time. I mean, I could go out there and I could yell his name, and you could hear him coming. I mean, he wouldn't even hide his footfalls. Boom, 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 boom. Here he come, right up to this tree line, and you could see, sometimes he'd poke his face out, other times he wouldn't. You just see like a silhouette of him back there moving around. And he's come out and sat within 10 yards of me. They're fast, man. That's all I can say about everything. They are the fastest. They say a cheetah's the fastest animal on the planet. I'll tell you, these guys are probably right there with them. I've never seen one run like that, but I've heard stories and other stuff, and I have seen them run, but, and it's just amazing. I mean, it's just amazing. I told you a story about me and my friend used to go out with me all the time, and, we was down at the LBL, they're jumping over our tent. Me and my oldest son and Chris is laying in the tent, and they're jumping over us and stuff like that. And he'd never seen one, though, and I took him down to this one place that I go to, and I always took these donuts. I know everybody's like, oh, don't feed them. I know. And I knew then, I didn't care, and I still don't care. But I'd take these donuts and stick them in one spot that I'd always done. It's a place where I'd done this penny thing, and they'd mess with the pennies and all that stuff. I was just experimenting. I didn't know what to do. I was trying new things. But we walked around in this park, National Forest, and was walking around and stuff like that, and was coming back, and there's this one that was down on all fours. He was up on this ridge, and he started booking it down toward them donuts. And like me and you the other day when me and you was talking, you might have thought, well, them guys are taking their donuts back, or something, And then he booked it down through there. I mean, he was freaking flying, too. And that's the first one Chris ever seen. He's like, dude, let's go home. I want out of here now, And to this day, he was all into Bigfoot till he seen one. He don't even want to talk about him, which I totally get it, man. This subject has a two-pronged effect. Either you see him and you go off the deep end wanting to see him again, or you see him and you don't ever want to see him or talk about him again. I know two people like that personally, Val and Chris. Neither one of them wants the conversation brought up. They don't care. They don't want nothing to do with them things. And me and Val was out messing around, and me and her had our first experience together down there at Land Between the Lakes. Yeah. And we was out messing around in the woods one time, and she heard a whoop. And she's, I play this stuff on TV all the time, and I'm always going through YouTube and stuff. She heard a whoop, and she's like, let's get the hell out of here right
she
now.
Knew what that was right away.
She had a good idea, and I don't know if it was one of them or not, but it sure as heck sounded like something you hear everybody saying. And I've heard them before, but it was a little different, not exactly the same, and she was ready to go. Let's get it right now. Bye. And she beat feet, turned on her heels, and was like, and she thought I was going to go off toward it. And she's like, you're coming back with me. You're not doing none of your stupid stuff. Let's go right now. I mean, she'll go out in the woods with me. We'll go out walking around and checking out structures and stuff. We'll go to some parks right around the house and stuff like that. But she don't want to get out and, she don't want to see another one. And if something's looking fishy, I'll go off that way and she'll stay back with the dogs or something like that. Like I seen an X in this one place here in Indiana, McCormick's Creek. It's like one of the first I'd seen in Indiana, and I took picture videos and everything of it. But She's like, nah, I'm not going over there. I said, we don't know what X's mean. She goes, I just don't want to go over there with the chance. She goes, my luck is I'll see one, and I don't want to see another one as long as I live. So I go traipsing off by myself and check it out.
Yeah, and that comes up. I'm sure you've heard plenty of those stories, too, on the various Bigfoot shows where you have these guys who've been in the woods 30, 40, 50 years, avid hunters, fishermen, campers, hikers, and then they see a Bigfoot and they sell all their equipment and never go back in the woods again.
Yeah. Or they go the total other way. They go goofy over the thing, and they just run, and it will ruin your life, man. If you let it, now I'm telling you guys, from my own experience, this stuff will get in your head. I heard somebody say one time, some Native American told him that these things have a way of getting in your soul, and if you let it consume you, and they caused all kinds of problems for me. Bad dreams, couldn't go to sleep without drinking, and I was drunk a lot, and that's just not me, and I'm glad I finally got over that little bit, but yeah. But I was drunk. Yeah. I was drinking all the time, because I knew if I went to bed drunk, I wouldn't remember none of my dreams and stuff like that. And it's just a lot of crap like that. And, when you see one, it's nothing that it's not even close to what you expect. You can see all these commercials on TV and everything like that. There's no comparison. I mean.
Yeah. The beef jerky Sasquatch is a little runt compared to what they actually look like.
Yeah. Yeah, and the face ain't even close, But, my favorite commercial of that is where they dip his hands in the water and he pees all over them. I just want to put that in there. I love them commercials, but they do a trick where they're pulling pranks on him, and they go to stick his hand in the water. But see, he always gets them on the end anyway. They put his hand in the water, and a stream about 6 foot high, and like a fire hose comes shooting out on him. So, yeah, that's my favorite commercial right there.
Yeah, my favorite one is where he's walking along the side of the road, and they're pretending to get him ride in the car, and then when he gets almost up to the door, then they pull away and stop again.
Yeah, it's got a famous actor in that one.
The guy out of the passenger side and hurls him about 50 feet.
Yeah, I love that, man. Yeah, that guy's a famous actor. He's in a lot of comedy. He's in that Brooklyn Nine or whatever, something like that. A little goofy guy, but yeah, that's he done that commercial. That's one of my favorites too. He's like, "Oh, sorry, buddy."
Yeah. Oh, just kidding. We'll give you a ride. Come on.
Yeah, and it just tears him right out of the car. But no, if it had been a real one, it could have picked up the car. I mean, the size of it and everything. They could probably grab a car and sling it as well. I don't know.
Yeah. And they're not as cute looking.
No, they're not. They don't look right. Like I said before, we got 2 fingers between the bottom of our nose and our top lip. On them, they can put 4 of their fingers. So it'd be like us taking 4 of our fingers and putting it underneath our nose and then our top lip. It's just, stuff's out of proportion, and they look, I don't know if this is the right word to use, archaic or something, just primeval. They don't look,
No, I totally agree with that. If I recall right, there's an Indian tribe that has a name for them that translates to the chinless ones. And what's all that about? Well, they look like they have their mouth in their chin.
Yeah, you're right about that. They do. They just, Yeah, almost all creatures, you can find something beautiful about them or something like that, like monkeys and orangutans and all of them. I mean, you can see the beauty in them. These things, at one time I thought maybe you could, but you can't. There ain't, it's just for the size of them, and it's just crazy. Crackers, but anyway, that's the last.
Part of the reason people get so freaked out by them when they see them and they get a good look at the face is because it looks enough like a human that you start thinking that it's something like a human, but it also looks so far from a human that it just looks really. Your mind is trying to compare it to every human face you've ever seen, and it doesn't match, and that's part of the problem. It's so far outside the lines of what a human conceivably could look like. That one part of your brain's trying to tell you it's human, the other part of your brain's trying to tell you no, it ain't.
And like an ape, to me they don't look what it is. Where people put them with apes, the skin tone on some of them is really black like that, and they always got their brow. I've seen quite a few with their brow crinkled up, and that will give you the appearance of an ape. But they don't look like an ape neither. I mean, it's the hair and where they're, I guess, covered in hair and the really dark skin that makes them think that that's what they are, and that the wrinkling forehead and all the creases in them. But they resemble neither, and I don't know how to. People ask ask me what they look like and stuff like that. And it's like, it's one of the hardest things a person, the way that they hold themselves back, and when you take a picture of them, you really can't get clear details of the face and stuff like that. I really wish one of these days somebody would get just a straight-on trail cam shot of their face, like the ones I've seen. And, none of them look the same. But that way that the public, these people out looking for them can have an idea. You don't want to see one after you see that. I'm serious.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they are not cute. So, getting back to your last experience there with Scooter, I really wonder what was going on with Sally. If she just had a premonition, or if something else had been happening and she didn't tell you about it, or what was going on?
No, I've asked her about that, and she said she woke up that morning and had a sense of dread. It's like one of them mother's intuition type things, I guess. And
she had premonition.
Yeah, and she just said, she goes, I didn't even know you was coming over, and because I pop in on her, which ain't a big deal, and sometimes I can help her do some stuff around her house or whatever, but I'll pop in on her, and she'll call me and say, can you come over here and give me a hand with this? And I still go over quite a bit, and I know they're back here, and I watch where I go. I don't want to go, and I definitely don't, I try not to, when I'm outside, to be very vocal, because if he's close and he hears me talking, he'll be right there. And I know this sounds crazy, man, but it's the truth. And, because me and her was sitting out on her deck one time, this is before that incident, just chit-chatting and having coffee, and it was like 8 o'clock in the morning, the sun been up for a little bit, and all of a sudden, there he is. He heard me and her talking, and he was wanting to talk, or just have me do my thing, act goofy toward something, but, yeah, she is afraid. She won't go out her back, and this, them things been there since her and her husband had been there, and when he was little, she actually held him, and she had a good rapport with him, and she wasn't afraid to go out there with a gun or nothing like that. And now she goes out there, she takes a cannon, Jack, and she can shoot it too. What she told me, she goes, and I never thought that. She goes, I had a bad feeling, but I never thought in my life that's what's going to happen. Because it scared her. It scared me to death too, but she actually, thank God that he blasted me hard enough to knock my ass out, but she seen the whole thing, and she shot at him. I don't know, she don't know if she hit him, but he scattered and took off, and there was like a month or two where she heard nothing out in the woods, because you'll hear him out there sometimes at night. Just one yell, not carry on over and over. Pretty quiet, and they don't want nobody to know they're there. And when you hear these things where they're just hollering over and over again, it's like, that's got to be way out somewhere where they're just trying to call another one in or something. I don't know. I know nothing about these things, but the ones this troop over here, they don't do that. They, you may hear, and it's going to sound more like an animal than anything else, but it's like what I've always heard people say, a bionic bird or a bionic owl. It's going to sound something of that nature. They're not going to sit there and just scream at the top of their lungs. I haven't heard that or witnessed it, but over and over, but,
Well, neither have I. I've been around these things plenty of times, different parts of the country, and that's one of the things I always sort of get thrown by when people start talking about, well, the ones in our area are making all these noises, and every night they're going off and stuff like that. It's like, well, okay, that's cool, but I've never experienced that, man. Most of the places I've been, if they're around there, they ain't letting nobody know that they're around there. And like you're saying, pretty much the only thing they'll do is mimic an animal call or something. You don't hear them doing these howls and screams and stuff that people are recording. And, some areas apparently they do this. But, man, none of the places that I've been, you have to be further out in the middle of nowhere. But I've been way far out in the middle of nowhere and still haven't heard anything.
You're out in the middle of nowhere right now. But
yeah, well, pretty much, yeah.
I heard they're pretty vocal down in Texas, and they're very vocal in Oklahoma like that. So I don't know.
Maybe it's just the type 2s or big mouths, and
if that's what they are, yeah, I guess. But I've never experienced it. And I've stayed nights over there and slept out in my car and all kinds of stuff. I've had fingerprints on my car from him coming up there and didn't even know he was there, and just goofy stuff like that. And I mean, I could see dermal ridges and all that. And it was hell to get off there because they're greasy and hell and dirty, but I had to actually get some grease cutter to get it off my car. Cause I'm not kidding. I put some Dawn and a sponge in a bucket and just tried going that route, but it was on there pretty good. And I had to get this, stuff we use at the restaurant. And, I was kind of afraid to mess up my paint job on the car, but I didn't want to ride around town with a ginormous handprint on there and everybody going, "You're a drunken uncle been over or something?" Yeah, that carnal knowledge with the Buick. Yeah. You know, I got that off there, and I took a picture of it and stuff, though, but
well, send it along.
I will. I think I still got it, but, you know, and like I said, I'd sleep over there and sleep out in the car, and toward the end and stuff, I'd stay in the house with Sally. She got to be like a good aunt to me, and she still is. I shouldn't past tense it, but, I'd sleep in the house, and never, I think I heard one friggin' wood knock one time, and also I believe I got a recording somewhere where he's running his fingernails up and down the side of the barn, and it sounds, at first I thought it was, you know them, wind things, they got them out in the country, and people's got them out, they collect water and say, and it's, man, I'm an idiot, you know what I mean, it's a big windmill, and it's out there, and they make that noise, that squeaking noise. Some of them said, like they can set the brake on it to do that because they like it. Well, at first, I thought that's what it was. And I'm like, I didn't know you had one out there. And we're sitting on the deck, and I've been playing a little bit of guitar for her and stuff like that, and just talking and chilling, hanging out, and seeing if anything happens. And she goes, "I haven't got one of them." She goes, "He's been over by that metal barn of mine for about the last 15 minutes where he was playing that guitar and singing to me. And he's been over there watching, and when you stop playing, he starts scratching the side of that barn." So I recorded him doing that, and that's what it is. It's dragging his fingernails down it. And it sounds like that.
That's like, is that clapping, or is that like going play another song?
Yeah, I didn't know what it was at first, and she explained it to me what it was, and said, "It's coming right from that." And once she told me, I looked over, and yeah, it's coming from the back end of that barn. He's standing there doing his peer out thing. But yeah, that's
one thing that you mentioned to me a few times now. I don't think you brought it up on the show here. Is that since this incident happened with Scooter, he's still been like apparently wanting you to show up for some reason because he's been coming up and yelling your name up by the house and stuff.
Yeah. I don't like saying that stuff over there, but they can speak, man. And I'll tell you what, he can say my name. But I don't like it because it's like, I had a Labrador Retriever, and, for months and months and months, I tried to get him to say mom, because he was a talker, and just like my dog I got right now, Oscar Waffles, he's a talker too. And when the dog said mom, it sounded almost demonic. I was like, "Don't say that no more." And he said it one time. That was enough for me because it flipped me out. You know what I mean? But, and when he would say my name, even though it wasn't phonetically perfect or nothing like that, and it's like he's sucking, the way it comes, yeah.
That super deep bass voice.
Yeah, like you sound when you do it or something like that, yeah.
Vibrates your lungs.
Yeah. And, yeah, and it will jolt you almost right up out of your seat or whatever. You almost come out of your skin when you hear it. I don't like saying that because people's like, horse shit. But it's the truth. And he didn't have there was no talking like we'd sit down and it was what it was. I mean, I've never been close to him as like Cat or Kevin was with Glag, and I don't ever want to be close to him like that. But
well, Cat will verify the one detail that you were given about the print on your car and that they're greasy.
Yeah.
She's touched them quite a few times, and yeah, they're greasy.
Yeah, when I was talking to her that one time, was on your show, and I've talked to her a couple times, there's certain things these things do that people don't even know they're doing. And see, I always thought he had a rock in his mouth because I've seen when I first seen these things and I wanted to get back to the woods, I knew nothing about the outdoors. You know what I mean? I've stated this before. I've never fished and never hunted, and I don't care to. But, why would I go camping? There's not a bed out there. There's not TV, and
No music videos?
No music videos. Yeah, no nothing. No air conditioning. nuts to that, you know. And so when I got into this and I started going out, I was really ill prepared. So I started watching these videos and reading stuff. And one guy said, while you're out walking and you're on a long hike, he said, it's always good to have a lot of water with you, but also put a pebble in your mouth. It creates moisture. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then I seen him with, like, he always had a rock or something in his mouth. Or not always, but a lot of times if I'd catch a glimpse of him, he would almost stick it out on his tongue and roll it back. I've seen him do something like that. And you could tell he's sucking on something or doing something. And it was, I believe it was a rock. And then Cat said to eat quartz or something like that. So it might have been that. I don't know. I never got close enough to examine, and he never spit it at me. And, thank God. But, I assumed it was a rock because where I'd heard that one thing, I was like, that's probably why he's got a rock in his mouth. And she kind of was telling that on air. And I was like, hey, quit telling, if somebody's really close to these things, and there's certain things they do, that we know they do, and aspects of them, or characteristics of them, I guess, that is pretty common among them. And, she told me a lot of stuff. Me and her, checked off each other's lists there a little bit, and that woman knows a lot of crap, and that's all I got to say about that. I would not want to know half of what she knows.
Yeah, little monsters.
Well, see, I was telling you, these things, these little bitty tracks that these people are finding ain't always juveniles or whatever, because the moms keep them on them a lot. They're holding on to them quite a bit. They're very nurturing of their children and stuff like that, or whatever. The swatchlets. That's what word you use, swatchlets.
The swatchlets.
They keep them up on them, and I imagine some of them are, especially. But whereas these people are seeing a big 16-inch track and then a little 4-inch one next to it, that don't mean that the juvenile's walking next to daddy. That could be one of them pugwudgies or little people or whatever they want to call them, but I'm apt to think that's them because of the track density. It goes down. They're probably pretty heavy and essential.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Richard is supposed to be on my show here again. He just found a bunch of track lines over in Idaho a month and a half, 2 months ago, from all different individuals. And one of the things that he found that was really interesting, the one with the, 13 inch foot, the one that was obviously the female, apparently had a little toddler with, because every so often you could see where she had put him down and he had taken like 4 or 5 steps.
And then back up.
Paralleling where she was, and then she'd pick him back up again. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing to him was, even though you could tell by the size of the foot, this is a really, really little squatchlet, still mama needs to carry it most of the time size. The tracks were sunk into the ground. So even when they're little, they weigh so much more than a human of a comparable size does. The easy way to tell what you're looking at is how deep into the ground is it. And the puckwudgies don't weigh nothing. So if you see some little bitty track that's like barely a scrape on the surface, you're probably looking at a puckwudgie.
Okay.
If you see one that's the same size sunk into the ground, it's probably a squatchlet.
Well, that's one thing, people don't understand. These things, like I've said before, me and you both said this, we got their weights, we're underweighing them. Because these things, their bones, for one, are enormous. Now, think of the muscle mass you got to have to bend them bones and stuff like that. We all took biology and stuff like that. These things, their bones are just dense and big. I mean, their fingers is around my wrist, some of them, So, and I'm a little guy. I'm 5'7" and probably weigh 140 pounds, and I'm a tiny little guy. I'm not kidding. The middle finger on one of them's almost the size of my wrist, and I'm not exaggerating in the least. And so,
yeah, they got fingers look like Twinkies.
Looks like
the thickness of
bananas.
Yeah.
And they're like bratwurst, I guess, is the best way to say their fingers are like. The big fat, they're just huge in the volume and the weight. To press down, I've seen tracks, and I'm not a track guy. I care less about tracks. I'd rather see tree structures and stuff like that. Because, I'm not that good of a tracker or nothing like that. So, but I've seen tracks where...
Oh, yeah, you haven't spent years and years in the woods hunting.
Right.
So that's why.
Exactly. But I've seen tracks that I've been in for sure areas, like my one place I go down south and over at Sally's. I've seen tracks that it's them. There's the 5 toes and all that crap. But I've been out before, and the depression. a half inch to an inch down in the ground. That's...
Oh, I know. I found a line of tracks that were pretty much the same size as my foot, and I was standing right next to them and not making an impression on the ground at all. These things were sunk in about 3/4 of an inch.
That tells you right there, man, there's some massive frickin' weight to do that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And even if they were built comparable to a human, just scaled up, that isn't right. They still weigh a lot more. Like Taylor was just saying, their bones are a lot thicker in order to carry that size of a body around. They have to be. So that's going to be a lot more weight. And muscle, if you have a chunk of muscle and a chunk of fat that are the same size, the chunk of muscle weighs 3 times as much as fat does. And these guys mostly don't have much fat on them. So I got a Sasquatch size weight estimator chart that I'll plop in here so you guys can take a look at that. If you take like a 6 foot tall human, and you make them, let's say double his size, 12 feet tall. Well, the 6 foot tall human weighs 250, so the 12 foot tall one weighs 500? No, you're cubing everything as the size increases. So the weight is massively huge, really fast. If you got a fairly squat looking Bigfoot, who's got the bodybuilder build on him, and he's 9 feet tall, you're looking at 800 to 1,000 pounds.
Well, look at that. Andre the Giant was 7 foot something, 7'4", right around there. He was still growing when he died. He weighed 510 pounds when he first started professional wrestling. Okay, he probably weighed more than that as he got older. And that guy, I seen him. My grandpa was a wrestling fanatic, and I went and seen wrestling matches. And my oldest son was the same way. And Andre was still alive when my oldest son was into this, and I had taken these things. If you like that, that's cool. It's just not my cup of tea. But I'd go watch it, and Andre come walking by me one time, and I was like, oh, my freaking God.
Yeah.
He was... People just don't realize, he was enormous. I mean, he played Bigfoot on $6 Million Man, and he was big.
Yeah. And think about this is, as huge as he is compared to us, he's like on the teeny tiny side compared to us.
He ain't shit. He ain't a pimple on their butt, man.
Flick their finger and knock him off.
I've seen, females are bigger than he is. And that's just one thing, man. Everybody's like, I want to see one. I want to see one. No, you don't. And I hear a bunch of us saying this, telling people, no, you don't. And they're still like, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. No, you don't. And please, listen to us. You don't want to see one because you don't know how it's going to end, for starters. You don't know what the outcome is. They're more apt to turn around and the ones I've been around, more apt to take a look at you, and they'll grunt or they'll huff at you, or chatter at you, and then just turn and go their own way, or not say nothing at all, and that's even worse. And they just go their own way. And that's awesome. If that's, when they do that. But then, there's other ones that, man, they'll come right at you, and they want you right now, and I don't.
Well, I know Blaine Tyler was telling me about that, too. Just recently had him on the show, and he's got type 3s up there where he lives. In fact, it seems like there's more of them moving into the area.
What's the type 3s? I'm not familiar with.
Face eater.
Oh, yeah. And that's it.
And he says, I went out to a couple areas where I've had Squatch, and I've been going out there for years, and when I got out there, the Squatch aren't around, and there's these other things. And you go into the woods, and the regular Bigfoot, they fade. They go back into the tree line to try and get a little bit further away from you. They try and maintain enough distance where you can't possibly see them or anything. The type 3s actually come toward you. They follow you around. He had one break a friggin' branch on a tree right above his head. This thing was literally standing right behind him and smashed his branch against his tree and scared him just almost half to death.
No, that's scare you to death hearing that out there. I took 2 guys down to a spot one time, and this one guy's breaking up firewood, right? And I bet you, not 20 yards from us, he snaps his limb, and there's nobody around us. Trust me, there's nobody around us. The exact same sound. I don't know. But it came right back at us, and the guy looks at me and goes, what the hell was that? I said, what the hell do you think we're here for? He looked at me and he goes, it's the middle of the afternoon. I said, He ain't got no friggin' watch on, you know. He don't care.
Yeah.
They're going to have one posted up watching you or something like that. I'm a firm believer in that. The first person I ever heard say that was that Todd dude. And he's like, they got these day watchers and stuff like that. These things do all their hunting, and I guess they are nocturnal, and they're more active at night. But they're just, they take a lot of naps, and they'll be up moving. They're liable to be up any time. So, you know, that's, you know.
Kind of depends on the remoteness of the area. I think, you know, like out here in Montana, over 90% of the sightings that people have had of Bigfoot have been during the day. And, you know, so a lot of people just hear that and they go, well, so what? You know, you can't see them in the dark. That's when people have... No. Go look at the reports in some of these other states where 90% of them are all nighttime reports. They're driving down the road and the thing runs across the road in front of them. Well, there's your report. It's the middle of the night. And, you know, like I said, oddly enough, most of the encounters out here are during the day. And the reason being that there's just hardly any humans out here. This area is so unpopulated. You know, we got 53 mountain ranges, millions of acres of forest, and less than 1 million people in the state. So the Bigfoot are probably still under the impression that they kind of run Montana, and humans are just like visitors.
You know, I heard that one guy that you had on your show, Matt Squatch, he was showing a map of sightings and stuff like that, and he goes, the reason there's no sightings here is you got to have somebody out there to have a sighting, you know? And I thought that was just awesome.
Yeah, there's not only got to be a Bigfoot, there's got to be a human to see him and report it in order for there to be a sighting.
That's like in Salt Forest over here in Ohio next to me. I'd say 85% of their sightings are day sightings. And I mean, because people's out there hiking and stuff like that, and they run up on one or something like that. But there's a lot more day sightings, and of course, you get the road crossings, and there's thousands of those, and them's generally at night. And I'll tell you something I've learned to look for was that one cat that was talking. He was big into structures, too. And he's right. If you ever see, like, you're driving down the interstate and you see a tree knocked down, but there's something about these things. They always put, like, this Y in their structures, to me. Okay, I may be wrong, but all the stuff that I see, there's always, like, a Y. And where, you know, makes a Y. They'll have that in there somewhere. And when you're driving down the road and you see these crossing where they know to cross the interstate, they'll tear a tree down and they'll have that Y. You can tell it's them. I mean, you know how I am about structures anyway. I can't go out and hunt a deer. I have no idea, but there's something about, unfortunately, God's gave me the ability to find the structures and stuff like that.
Yeah, plus with the practice that you've had over the last few years, now you know what to look for, and so you're looking for it and you're finding it.
Absolutely, yeah. And you just got to study. And, you know, I've had people out with me in every piece of deadfall or something like that, and that's a glyph, that's a ground glyph. No, it ain't that. Look, see that limb going up there? That's that limb. Take it, but I guarantee you we probably glue it back on there and it looks right. But, you know, I've been out with guys like that. Everything's Bigfoot, not everything's Bigfoot, man. They are everywhere, but also people's got to understand they do not want a damn thing to do with us, and they do not want to draw attention to themselves. And, them structures and stuff, that's like, when you guys were out doing your research, which is some great videos, man, out there, you took some people out and you're like, okay, jackasses, here you go. Have at it. And,
let's go see Bigfoot. Let's go see lots of structures and tracks. Let's have fun.
Yeah. And you guys got tons of stuff too, but, you know, man, where the hell was I going with that? I lost my train of thought.
Well, you're talking about structure.
You guys got good structure, and it's like okay, I know where I was. You know how you got that one where them enormous limbs are all jammed in. There's like 3 of them stuck in between that one tree, and I sent you a picture of some stuff that I've been exactly like that, but smaller in diameter. You know, there's stuff like that, and I don't know if I'm right about this or anything. There seems to be something with prime numbers, 397. That they use. Maybe. I wish other people were thinking that way.
Well, everybody else out there, take note of this. When you find structures, count how many sticks are in them and see if it's a prime number.
I'd just like to know. Maybe, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading more into it than what is there. And that's probably a good possibility. Yep.
Well, until one of us tells us exactly what they mean, it's all guesswork, so we might as well work through every single friggin' possibility imaginable. I had somebody tell me that they were taking compass readings on tree structures, and there seemed to be a correlation between what the structure was and what what it basically lined up with compass-wise, cardinal points. So there's another one that people could take a look at if they're interested.
And that's something me and you was talking the other day. And I think, it was me and you. And I was telling you about how cows, when they all are grazing, they all face the same way, like or something like that. And I seen that on a video. I didn't know that. I seen that on some. So it may be true or not. So, but I seen something that said all cows, generally when they're all grazing, they will have their head facing this way. And if you look at the whole group of them, which I've looked at because I'm out here in Indiana, also we got cows and fields and woods, so I've noticed that a little bit, and I think it's true. So there's got to be something with the magnet of the Earth for whatever. I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
Yeah. Again, the problem is we just don't have any frame of reference to work from to try and guess what they mean, with these certain structures. There's some of them you see repeated all over the place, all over the country. You'll see the same sorts of things, X structures and fence structures and stuff like that.
Right.
And, by the way, Taylor's got the biggest fence structure I've ever seen in my life. I'll show that video here where we're talking about it, so you guys can take a peek at it. He's standing in one place and going back and forth to the camera. You can't see where either end is. It's so damn long, it disappears off into the distance on both sides. So, and this is way up in the air. But the thing is, there's also some structures and stuff that we're pretty sure Bigfoot's making them, but they're rare. Like taking a whole tree, turning it upside down, and cramming it into the ground top first.
I seen that one time.
You usually see those are like in Alaska. You hardly ever see them down here in the lower 48.
I was in the LBL, and I think I told you about this. I was on the phone with Eddie Moreland, my buddy, and I'm driving around. I'm out there looking around by myself like an idiot, which I'll never do anything like that ever again. But I go past, the LBL is just enormous and vast. People wouldn't believe it, and them things are everywhere. It's there. I don't care what anybody says. If you want to see them for sure, you go down there. Matter of fact, there's a person that I'm thinking about. He's wanting to have an experience. I've had nothing but great action there, and I know my other spots and everything like that, and I'm afraid I don't want to be around these things. And I'm thinking about bringing him in and have him come out here with me too, and us going to LBL, and because I know there's a couple spots down there. This guy he's gonna have action. If
I mean, to me, LBL sounds fun to me because it's what do we got around here except for Bigfoot infested ghost towns? LBL's got to have more action than that.
That ghost town stuff. I was telling you the other day, Val's sitting there watching that. She watched the first one when you guys. And she's like, man, I'd like to go out there and hang out. And then she sees the last one, while I wasn't home. And I was off doing something or whatever. And come back home, she goes, nuts to that ghost town. I don't think I want to go.
Oh, she saw the stuff with the EM meter and the capture.
Yeah, and she, what's cool about her is she's like me. I don't want no part of no ghost. And I'm getting to where I don't want no part of Sasquatch or anything like that because I don't know what they are, and there's more to them than what people think there is. I'm just telling you, I'm not going off the deep end with woo. I've never seen one cloak. Well, I've seen some weird stuff, but anyway, remember when
and the other thing is, like you say and I say, and a lot of people say, seeing these things is generally not good for you. It's a real shock to your system, even if you marginally believe in them. And this is why a lot of people that end up having an encounter want to go back and have a second encounter, because it's shook up their world so bad they're not entirely convinced, no matter what the circumstances were, that it really happened. I mean, even if you saw it from 5 feet away in broad daylight and it flicked you in the forehead with its finger, you'd still be doubting that it actually happened, and you'd want to go back and, I need to see one more just to verify to myself I'm not completely crazy. I actually saw what I saw. So I think that's the psychology behind a lot of people that have a sighting. They want to go out and see another one just because they want to convince themselves they're not crazy and these things really are.
I agree 100%. Because, like I've told you before, man, I still have trouble believing what I've seen. It's...
Oh, dude, I do too. I get up some mornings and, okay, am I still having that weird dream where I'm a Bigfoot researcher and Bigfoot is real? Yep, I guess I am.
Yeah. I've told you 100 times, I kind of wish I'd never, ignorance is bliss, man. It just makes you wonder what all else is out there, and I don't want to see nothing else. I don't want to see a dog man. Nuts and that stuff. I mean, I'm serious. I don't want to see nothing. I don't want to see nothing else. This is enough. I'm done. I'm out. I've cashed my ticket in. I'm done. I don't want to see nothing else. And that makes you think, what in the hell all else is out there, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a scary thing, and everything that gets reported, like if you're listening to Kat and she's talking about all these other cryptids, it doesn't get any better.
No.
Like one of the most harmless ones you can run into is Bigfoot. The other one much worse. Good God,
I agree.
You don't want to run into those things.
I agree. And you don't know what the outcome is going to be with the Sasquatch, but you got a 50-50 chance of them walking away. Some of these other things, no, they'll follow you home, haunt you. It's like that one guy that took a shot at a dog man I heard on one of these shows. That thing come around his house and wrecked his life. He had to move and everything like that because of a dog man, because of this. And I don't know what they are. I don't know what Sasquatch are.
Yeah.
So
I just know that I don't want to run into any dog man. I think I'm in an area where there aren't very many, I hope. So I'm pretty happy about that. But, getting back to reactions that people have, some people see Bigfoot and they're just totally in shock, and other people are just enthralled by the whole thing. This is usually the driving down the road, seeing one walk across.
Absolutely.
Oh, that was so cool, well, you're safely in your vehicle and you can race away, so you think it's cool. If you were standing there on the side of the road in the dark and it walked in front of you, you wouldn't think it was so cool.
Hell no.
But, people's reactions run the gamut of everything pretty much imaginable that could happen in a situation like that. Which brings me to the final story about Scooter, which is the reaction that somebody that supposedly had seen Bigfoot before.
Okay, yeah.
Scooter.
I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to say what state he lives in or nothing like that. I had this one guy, I think me and you just done a show or something like that, and I was talking about Scooter and how I thought it was going well. Well, anyway, this guy on Facebook starts telling me I'm full of beans and all this stuff, and I had probably never seen one and all that stuff, and he's a real researcher. He's been researching for 20 plus years, and he's been out there and he's had sightings and yada yada yada. And it's just anytime I get on Facebook or anything like that, or even YouTube, I'll be watching a video and I'll comment and say, good job or something like that. This guy chime in and mouth off to me, and he was close enough to where he could come on over. And I told him, I said, I tell you what, dude, you drag your sorry ass over here any freaking time you want, and I promise you, I'll show you one. And I had $300. I told him, I said, if you don't have nothing, let's say we go this spot and you don't know anything, you can keep that $300. I said, but if you see one, I'm keeping $300 just to try to get him over here and just, how it is. It's relentless sometimes to some of these people. They will.
Oh, I know, but being a show creator, we sort of expect to get hammered like that. It's a little bit different when you're just a guest on the show and you're just trying to tell something that happened to you, and then you got some stalker following you around, giving you help.
Telling and calling you a liar at every turn. I'm a lot of things. And I've lied, and I do lie, and everything else, but get out trouble or anything like that. But, I'm not lying about none of this stuff. And this shit's happened to me, and there's days I wake up, and I ask the good Lord why, and then, and there's days I'm glad I have seen him. It's just back and forth. You know how it is. Anybody seen one of these knows how it is. But anyway, this jerk kept up, and he took me up on it. He come over, and I took him to where, and this is where I could yell his name, and you'd hear him coming. And he didn't hide his footfalls. Here he'd come. He wouldn't bust right out of the trees. Me and you went through this 100 times. He wouldn't step right out to where you're seeing him in all his glory. You know what I mean? He would come up, and you'd hear him coming, and all of a sudden you wouldn't hear him because he's easing in. They got to have the advantage of everything. He's easing in. Well, me and this dude are walking, and he's right with me, right beside me. And I'm yelling the name and stuff like that. And the dude, you hear him, then you don't hear him. And all of a sudden his face just comes right to where you can see his face. And that's about it. And it's up high because he was getting close.
He popped his head up out of the tree line.
Well, he popped his head through some, there's some bushes and stuff and trees, and it's all just a menagerie of crap. But he pops his head out, and he has to move trees, or actually these bushes, mulberry bushes, to stick his head through. He stuck his head out. This dude literally, I'm not kidding, shit all over himself. Which, look, whatever. I've peed on myself before when I've seen these things. I've almost passed out before and everything else. It is.
So this guy didn't say anything. He just,
let's go. I'm ready to go. Take me home. Started, and this is an experienced researcher that's 20 plus years in the field, and I'm full of bullshit. Needless to say, I got to keep my $300, but I had to give him some clothes and let him take a shower and all that other stuff at my house, and I sent his ass on his way. And he was quiet for a long time. I guess he's back now. I'm talking his bull stuff again, but he wouldn't return none of my phone calls, because I was kind of worried about him. Because when you see one of these things, it's traumatic. And that's one thing people don't understand. It changes your life. It's great to hear me and Duke talking about them, and hearing Kat come on in here and talk about her experiences. And in the back of your head, as the same way I was. Well, that's horseshit, Well, it ain't. And when you see one, it even if you kind of half-heartedly believe or whatever, when you see one, it just wipes everything out. I don't know how to explain it. It just changes everything for you. And I was kind of worried about the guy after the experience, because, like me, man, I've become a raging alcoholic here for a long time. And
well, it sounds pretty much like that stopped the torment.
Oh, yeah, he was done. He wouldn't even text me back, yeah, I'm fine, dude. Nothing, which, come to find out from some people I've talked to, the dude's a horse's ass, period. And anytime somebody acted like they knew something, he would chime in and like he was an expert on it. There is no experts, but he seemed to think he was. And from my own experience with him, he thought he knew everything. I don't even think he'd seen one or even heard one till that moment, because I'm telling you, he crapped all over himself, and I had to ride about 6 miles in my car with him, and it stunk to high heaven. And he didn't want to admit it first.
Did you get him in the car without besmirching your seat covers?
Trash bags.
Oh, trash bags.
I got some from Sally. I'm like, can I get a couple trash bags? And I never brought nobody there before, and I got her permission and everything like that. And I was going to bring a couple people there. I was going to have you come out and go with me one time. And then there's a couple other people. I said, if you want to come. But that screwed me and his relationship up for a long time. A couple months, because I would yell for him, he wouldn't come. So, I don't know. And it was weird for a while after that. And I regretted it and everything, but oh well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But that guy had it coming. But no, he didn't, but yes, he did, I guess, because I think about myself, some of the dreams I have and stuff like that. And I mean, I'll wake up and can't go back to sleep and call you or something like that. And I won't say, I just had one of the worst dreams of my life, but I mean, to get my mind off of crap and stuff like that. I'm not kidding, man. Some of the dreams you have after seeing these things.
Those aren't dreams, they're nightmares.
Yeah, they are. And, jump up almost swinging and running. And it's bad. But, that's one thing people don't understand. That this all goes with seeing them.
Yeah, PTSD.
I guess, but I don't know if I got that or what I got, but I know I got it bad. I had it bad, let me put it that way. And, it was getting really to where it was weighing on me all the time, and I just couldn't get over it. And I'd done this, probably total opposite of anybody else would do. I'd heard Bob Garrett on one of his real old things. He says when he was talking about how he got away and went gold mining, and he said everybody should do that. Well, I'm telling you, I planned for this for 2 days and took off. I hiked the Appalachian Trail, kind of down from northern Kentucky down to Tennessee, and just to get this shit off my...
He didn't tell anybody where he was going and disappeared off the face of the earth for 3 months, and we're all worried about it.
Well, Val knew where I was, and my kids knew what I was doing, but other than that, really, nobody knew what I was doing. I needed a break, and I know that sounds stupid to go right to where, go in the woods where they're supposed to be and stuff like that, and do that, but I'm telling you, it helped, and it was scary a lot, and I did have one experience. Anytime I see a structure or anything like that, I would go the other way, and I'd try to get as far away from that area as I could. But still at night, like I said 100 times, I'm not a hunter. I'm not big into fishing or camping or any of that stuff. But I have become a camper and stuff like that. But when you get out in these dense woods by yourself, and it's not Sasquatch, I don't know what the hell it is, but these animals make some freaky noises, and it scares the shit out of you. And I was listening to one of your episodes where the guy, he's in his tent and he puts the covers over his head, and you're like, yeah, that tent's it could resist a nuclear blast. I'm telling you what, dude, my tent, we could have had Armageddon, and my tent would have survived it. That's my because
yeah, I think humans put a little bit too much faith in the safety blanket in the tent. Oh, I'm in the tent. And I got a blanket over me. I'm safe. You can't mess with me now.
That's I've done that many a night. Hearing weird stuff. It was probably a raccoon or a fox, but it still scared the crap out of me. And I would sit in that tent going, thank God I'm in this tent.
So make sure that you're kind to everyone. Safety first, last, and always. Pay it forward. Don't be mean to people if you don't have to be. Don't flip off the mountain giant. Don't poke Dogman with a stick. Don't punt the puckwudgie. And for God's sake, whatever you do not hug the Wookiee. See you later, folks.